Greetings gastronauts, this is KeefCooks, I'm Keef and today I'm going to do an American recipe. I'm going to make tomato pie. Alright, tomato pie, it'll be very nice. Quick shout out before we start to my new Patreon superfan, Anthony C. Thank you Anthony, I do appreciate it, oh yes. Now then, this was requested by Alan Brown, who, well, begged for basically. He said, "Hi Keef, please give tomato pie a go. I followed the all recipes version, boo, on your YouTube. It's one of the best savoury dishes I have made. It's best left to go cold, room temperature. It was just bloody lovely. Please do it." So I thought, that sounds like rubbish. But I'm going to do it anyway, because quite often things that sound terrible turn out to be wonderful, as in, you know, most British cuisine. Anyway, if you enjoy this video, give it a like, share, subscribe, etc. Make YouTube think you like it. And let's get on with it. Tomato pie. Okay, first job, make some short crust pastry, or buy some, or even buy a ready-made pie crust. Whatever that is, I think we can get those in England. It's, I don't know what the world's coming to. Anyway, ingredients. I have got 200 grams of plain all-purpose flour, half a teaspoon of salt, and 100 grams of fat. This is a mixture of butter and lard, and round about half a cup of cold water, actually just enough to bring it together. So, I'll mix that salt a little bit. Whack it on the mixer. Mixy. And then I can chuck lumps of fat in. And after 2 or 3 minutes, you get a mixture that looks like coarse breadcrumbs. You can, of course, do this yourself with your fingertips. Well, not quite. We've got still got some biggish lumps in there, so I'll just... And now we just add enough water to make it come together in a ball. Alright, there's the dough. Let's just wrap it in plastic film, stick it in the fridge to rest for about half an hour. Okay, we need to prep the tomatoes a little bit by salting them so that some moisture is drawn out, because they are very damp and they will make your bottom soggy. Mrs. KeefCooks says I'm not to do anything like this because it's not funny. There you go. There are 875 grams of beefy tomato here, and I need to slice it. So spread them on a baking sheet lined with greaseproof paper. Tomato pie, by the way, is supposed to be a southern states recipe, especially around Alabama kind of thing. And as is usual with most recipes, what you put in it and how you do it varies a lot. So there's no canonical way to do it. That's a big word. And give them a good old sprinkle with coarse sea salt. Let them sit like that for about 15 minutes. Now, another bit of prep we need to do, oh, actually completely optional, is bacon. You know, of course, bacon makes everything better, unless you're a vegetarian. So if you are a vegetarian, don't do the bacon. I've got 4 rashers of back bacon. That'll be about 150 grams. So it's falling to bits, which is actually good, because, you know, by the time it's cooked, we're going to make it fall to bits completely, because we want crumbs, not chunks. So get a frying pan, put some water in it and turn the heat on. And when the water is warm or hot, add the bacon. We don't want to add extra fat because it's got plenty. And the water will just stop it sticking initially. Now you can see how much liquid has escaped from the tomatoes, so we need to just blot them with a bit of kitchen paper and try and get the salt off. Now there's the bacon, so I'll put that in a colander or something and Just let it dry off, cool down, and then I can chop it into crumbs. Okay, time to sort out the pastry base, which needs to be blind baked, by the way. I've got 23.7 centimetre diameter tin, which is about 9¼ inches, and it has got a loose bottom. And then roll out some pastry. Once again, I think I've got a lot more than I need. This stuff does get used, by the way, when I make too much. Roll the dough over your rolling pin and then unroll it over your tin. And then just cut off a bit of spare dough and use that as a pusher to get the pastry or dough into the edge without breaking it with your massive talons. Now you can cut off any massive excess, but still leave, you know, a centimetre around the edge of the tin, because when you blind bake it, it will shrink. Okay, so get some greaseproof paper. I don't know how many times I've used this bit, but it's coming on nicely. It's getting a patina. And also this rice, or baking beans, or ordinary dried beans, or uncooked rice, whatever. Just something to weigh down the pastry while it's having its first little bake, to stop it swelling up. So you want the oven heated to 160 degrees Celsius for a fan oven, convection oven, or air fryer oven, and that is 180 for a conventional one, and that is gas 4. We'll pop this in for 10 minutes. Okay, that's the first 10 minutes done. I need to try and get the rice out there. But I'll just tidy up the edge here now. And I'm going to paint it with egg wash, which is a beaten egg with a bit of milk. And I'll just paint the inside, the bottom, the sides and the rim. Right, in the oven for another 10 minutes. Okay, second part of the blind baking is done. I'm going to put the pie together. So we've got some extra ingredients, which are a spot of basil, and some mayonnaise, and some grated mature cheddar. This is where it gets interesting, because in the All Recipes video, she mixes grated cheese and mayonnaise to put on the top and then bake it. And I think that is actually sounds revolting. I've never done that. I don't know how that can work. Surely the raw egg-based mayonnaise will curdle or just, yeah, be horrible. Anyway, she says, don't knock it till you tried it. So that's what I'm doing. So fingers crossed. Let's start. What we need to do first is grate some cheese on its own in the bottom of the pie case. Do you think I've got enough basil there? I'm not sure. Spread that out kind of evenly. That might actually form an extra barrier to sogginess, although, you know, so I'm not bothered about soggy bottoms, I quite like them. Please don't comment on that. And some ground black pepper. The All Recipes video also uses a lot of powdered garlic. Okay, and some bacon and some basil. Also, you might use oregano or thyme. Yeah, kind of whatever you fancy, but we've got quite a large amount of basil, as you can see, that needs to be used. And it goes brilliantly with tomato, so why not? Okay, more tomato. These are spares to use in sandwiches. They'd be great. More black pepper, the rest of the bacon, more basil, And now you should turn your oven on to 180 degrees Celsius for a fan oven, convection oven or air fryer oven. That's 200 for a conventional one, and that's gas 6. I'm not doing it just yet because of the noise, the background noise. So the final thing to do is grate more cheese and mix it with mayo. So that's 60 grams of cheese, and we want about half as much of mayonnaise. This is from Aldi. I don't know if it's their own brand. They have a lot of Bramwell's stuff, and I think it's really good. So here we go, mixy, and just spread it all over. Yep, that's nowhere near enough. So I need to make more of that. And I have seen recipes where the actual filling, the tomatoes, are kind of mixed in with cheese and mayonnaise, which again sounds awful. I'm sorry, I might be coming across as a bit negative about this, but then again, it might be wonderful. Right, the actual baking instructions on allrecipes.com are pretty much non-existent. So I'm going to put this in for half an hour because the pastry's already been blind baked for 20 minutes, so that's not a problem. It's just getting these tomatoes cooked and this cheese melted and that mayonnaise. Ooh, I don't know. Anyway, in we go. Don't knock it till you tried it. I'm sure it'll be wonderful. Oh yeah, well, that looks good, looks cooked. So let that cool down a bit, I'll put it on a wire rack, and then we are not allowed to touch it until tomorrow. Okay, it's the next day. This is nice and cool, room temperature, it hasn't been in the fridge. And so let's cut it open and see what we got. Quite a lot of tomato, I should think. Are you ready? Doesn't actually look like much, but we'll give it a taste and find out. Okay, the moment we've been waiting for. Let's have a taste. Oh my. Oh. That is so juicy. Unbelievable. But not a soggy bottom. Wow. Well. Thank you, Alan Brown, for forcing me to do this. That is a revelation, possibly an epiphany. Anyway, it's a right nice thing, tomato pie. Sounds weird, tastes great. So, what are you waiting for? Get it made. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.